Listen, life may not be going as good as you think it is. But remember, you are responsible for it all. So change your way of thinking as hard as it can be to start living in abundance, to start living carefree, to live life like it is on easy mode, despite all of the challenges that await. It doesn't matter what is going on. What matters is what you're doing now to actually change the way you think. It all starts with the planting of a different thought. Reaping what you sow, changing the entire outcome of your reality. It is literally just shifting the reality for yourself rather than feeling like you can't do anything about your current situation. When in reality, you change your thinking, that just opens up the window, it opens the door for the abundance to flow in. Nothing good comes from stagnation. You must be like the water Bruce Lee says you must be. Be like water, my friend. I don't know what kind of accent that was. I'm not even gonna try. But be like water, my friend. Change shape. Change shape. Changing is moving. You cannot change in a stagnated position. You cannot see any health in a stagnated position. You have to break all of the things that are clogging the system. You do not want any cloggage. You want to only flow freely rather than dwelling upon a certain thought, dwelling on a certain situation, dwelling on the past. It shouldn't matter at this point. What matters is that we move forward. What matters is that we embrace who we are regardless of what they think. What matters is the discipline over motivation. If you want to show up in life in the right sense, then you have to be disciplined. If you want to be consistent, you don't have to pressure yourself to get up and do it every day. You may not be able to put that 2 hours in, that 3 hours in. Sometimes you may just put in 60 seconds. But that 60 seconds can transform your entire life because you did it every single day. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad in your view. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad in somebody else's view. What matters is that you continue to move forward. It's simple. But we're going to complicate it over and over again because we love the frustration. We are addicted to the trauma, the bullshit that shouldn't be something we are feeding off of. But on a subconscious level, we feed off of negativity. We feed off of low vibrational frequencies when we should be building and creating a higher vibration. It's like these vibrations are pulled from the atmosphere. They're pulled from out of thin air. You are already high vibrational. You are also very low vibrational. That's just duality at its best. But you have to be able to pull from the right place at the right time when it is needed. There's nothing wrong with being on a low vibe because we all have problems. We all have challenges that arise. But you have to be able to rise above it so you can finally allow the good to come in. So how do we do this when all we do is surround ourselves with negative forces, negative people, negative things consume us on the daily? Why does it feel as if it is so much easier to consume this negativity? Why does it feel like it's so much easier to embody the negativity? Is it that you're broken? You may be a little broken, but you're really not as broken as you think. There's always something inside of you that you never expected to have, whether it be an amazing type of person that people like a likable person, or a very hated person. That's inside of you. A millionaire is inside of you if you haven't already attained the million. That version of you exists, and you just have to channel into that right frequency. You have to be able to allow that to come in. You have to be able to know where you're at. You have to know where you stand in this life. You have to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, how are you going to finally attain different heights? How are you going to finally let go of a certain attachment to an outcome when all you want is something from the world, but you don't want to give something to the world? You have to be able to do this. You have to be able to give. Letting go is really just giving. If the universe is watching you hold on to all that bullshit, all that trauma, all these problems that you have, and you just keep dwelling on it, it's gonna fester up. It's gonna get rough. But if you give it to the universe, if you give it to God and say, just take it all, then you gonna feel free. That's why people in the church, they be catching the Holy Ghost and they're like, I gave my sins to Jesus. And they're just like tripping out and stuff. But that's because they gave something up. They finally were able to give rather than just take, and not just let go of it. Man, it is tough to let go at times. I feel it. You know, I'm a man of this hella clothes. I buy them a lot because that's a part of my business model. I'm reselling this stuff. But when I see that shit piles up, man, it can do something to the mental. And I'm just like, bro, I got to get rid of this stuff. And sometimes it's not moving how I want it to move. And that's my fault. I bought the wrong items possibly. I wasn't on the right vibration. Blibbity blobbity bloobity blah. It doesn't matter. We're always going to be in certain situations that we have to figure out how to overcome. The work is never going to be finished. You may think, oh, once I get this and that, oh yeah, we're going to be easy rolling. You say you're going to be easy rolling, but you're either going to want more or there's going to be more shit that just happens. So you got to be prepared. You got to be 10 toes down and ready for this stuff. You have to know that you're not going to have perfect days. You're not always going to throw out a banger on the YouTube video, on the TikTok, the IG Reels. You're not always going to be able to do what you've always wanted to do. But you will eventually if you're persistent, if you have the right attitude in this life, if you're able to raise yourself up from the ashes just as the phoenix would. It's such a legendary moment in this world when you finally realize that you can rise from any situation. But it takes owning up to the responsibility, taking the responsibility that you've always needed to take. It takes showing up day in and day out for yourself. The way people treat you is a way that they treat themselves. It's all a mirror reflection. And the way you take it personal, the way you perceive it is also that mirror reflection of yourself. So you can't be too upset with anything that anybody says or does to you. And you cannot be too upset with how you feel about a certain thing, because we're always looking at mirrors. We're always feeling these internal reflections, these external reflections. And we're just trying to make sense of it. But we're never going to make sense of what is going on in this matrix, in this world. All we can do is try to make sense of it. All we can try to do is work together and help each other. But at the end of the day, we're not going to know until we fucking know. And it might just take lifetimes to figure this stuff out. But we're not going to stress it. We're going to do what we need to do regardless of how we feel. Because we are champions. Because we are the right one, the chosen ones. So we got to be able to stay on our stuff no matter what happens. If you feel as if you're falling behind, remember, it's just a part of the path. If you feel like things are going wrong, remember, it's all a part of the path. When there are certain opportunities, when certain situations happen in your life, it's all for a reason. So you cannot be upset. You cannot burden yourself or burden the ones around you because of things going on. You have to realize it's all a part of the process. Everything is happening for a reason, not by accidents, not by coincidence. So that's my quick spiel. I'm flowing like crazy. Sometimes I feel like the videos they're crazy. I never have like this straightforward topic bouncing from the same thing to the next thing to the next thing. I'm just freely flowing with thoughts. It's really just like freestyling, and I definitely need to start making some music. And I can say that over and over, but if the pen and paper don't move, if the recording software is not up, the music will never be made. But we're not going to even talk about that too much. I'm just here sharing some thoughts. I want you to be able to become your best version, because that's how I want to be. I want to be my best version. But that shit doesn't happen overnight. That shit doesn't happen too easy for a lot of us. But remember to surround yourself with people who are going to raise the vibrations, the right information that is going to be programmed into your subconscious, so you can finally attain the right habits and you can do the right things for yourself day in and day out, regardless of what the situation is, regardless of how you feel. If you got anything from this video, leave a like, a comment, share it, subscribe, do whatever makes you feel happy, or even just click off the video. It doesn't matter. Sending you some gratitude right now, sending you high vibrations, and wishing you the best in this year of 2026. You got to be individual, you got to be hardworking, and you got to be able to embrace it all. Peace.